And tonight we have the, the great joy of having our dear brother Golo joining us from Madhuban. So Golo, thanks for being with us. I know it's 10 p.m. there tonight. So giving.
I'm full on coffee and chai, so I should manage.
Oh, I thought you were conqueror of sleep, but anyway, coffee and chai also helps. So we'd like to welcome you traditionally with some flowers. I think today they're coming from Antalya. So yes, flowers. Are you here? Ah, there they are.
Ah, how nice.
Yes.
Ah,
I
how
think
sweet.
I think you may know Aishigo Labla, Sister Aishigo, who takes care of Baba's center in Antalya. So presenting the flowers to Mother Bun and to you tonight. So warm welcome, and I think everybody would know Golo, but here's a bit about him and also some things I wasn't fully aware of. So he came to Baba in 84, and since 1990 he has been trustee and president of the India Care Trust to support the global hospital. And since the mid-90s, he's been living in India and is advisor to BK on solar energy. Also built the solar house, which is in Gyansrover, and I think is there now. And the India One solar plant, which is a tremendous achievement to put that together. And since 12 years, he's a member of the BK Environment Initiative and participated since in all the UN climate conferences. And I know he was at COP26 in Glasgow recently as well. And he traveled the world lecturing on clean technology and lifestyle change through meditation. So that's a bit about him. And just from my side, Golo is unstoppable. Whatever he puts his mind to, it's going to get done. And so I remember him saying once in an NCCC meeting that he was telling us of all the different things he has to sort out financially and going to cities in India with regard to Solo One and all the complications. And he said, at the same time, I have to become an angel. So that was great to hear. Practical journey to becoming an angel. So yeah, it's got a very interesting topic tonight: consciousness and planetary transformation, the crisis as a chance. So welcome once again, Golo.
Thank you very much, Yogesh, for the opportunity, and many greetings from Madhuban. Yeah, indeed, I'm very lucky. I was in Madhuban, and then I went to the climate conference in Glasgow, and I sneaked back to India just in time before the new virus variant makes it more complicated to come into India. So I'm feeling very fortunate that I'm being here right now. And here it's all quite relaxed at the moment. Yeah, we have a very interesting topic, consciousness and planetary transformation, the crisis as chance. And I have prepared some slides to sort of go a bit into the depth of what I would like to share with you today. I will talk a bit about the climate change and also our presence at the UN climate conference and what we are doing in the environmental initiative, because that's also part of the crisis which we are facing right now. And it's also part of the planetary transformation. And then I just share a little bit my thoughts and my journey, what I've done in India, some of the projects in solar, but also some of the ideas which I have came across, how our mind is interconnected to the whole matter and to the whole world, and we are actually the masters of matter. You know, a point which is often forgotten. Okay, so now I'm trying to share my screen with you, and I hope this share. So I hope you can see it. Can you see it? Can you all see it? The slide? Yogesh, I can't hear you.
Yes, yes, we can see it.
Okay, so that's okay. Okay, I start. All right, so crisis as a chance. And
sorry, Golo, before you go further, there's one or two comments from the translators. If you could be a little slower, please.
Slower than I am already.
Some comments have come from the translators.
Oh my God. They should translate on the fly. Okay, so here we are. All right. So Sir David Attenborough, he said, the collapse of civilization and the natural world is on the horizon. Our planet is very, very sick. Actually, our planet is dying right now. That's what we can say. And I just give you a bit of a background why that is happening right now. This is also some information from the climate conference, some latest. So in the whole science, they have identified about 12 tipping points in climate. And these tipping points are in blue. These are the ice shields and the permafrost and the methane and so on, and the Greenland ice sheet, and they are melting at a very high speed. And this is a self-supporting effect. The more ice melts, the more the ocean heats up, and again, temperature will rise further. So that's happening already. And science already has said that the Arctic sea ice cannot be saved. In a couple of years in summer, the Arctic will be ice-free. The big question is, what about Greenland? And what about the West Arctic ice sheet? And they're not 100% sure, but what happened in the last years, everything is happening much faster than they were thinking. So if all the ice melts, the seawater level will rise 60 meters, which will mean the end of all of our coastal cities. So in red, you have the circulation systems. This is the Indian summer monsoon, the El Nino oscillation, but also here in the Atlantic, is most important for Europe, is the Atlantic circulation. These are very powerful systems, sometimes in the water, sometimes in the air, and they have started to change also. The Atlantic circulation has become 15% weaker already. And then in green, you have the biosphere components. These are the big forests here, and tropical reefs, and the carbon pump and Amazon rainforest. What we can say is that these boreal forests in the north, in Canada and Siberia, they're burning. They're literally burning away. We have 20 to 30 megafires right now. A megafire is 30 by 30 kilometers, and they're just burning away because they became very dry, because there's less rain. Amazon rainforest is also being cut down. So the planet is really in a bad shape, because all these points, all these big tipping points, they have begun to shift and to change. On top of it, we have here the jet streams. The jet streams are very powerful winds which are in the upper troposphere, and they can be up to 250 kilometers fast. And these winds, they have identified 8 of them. One is around the North Pole, one is at the equator, and in between are some. And these jet streams, they have started to shift and to change. And that is the reason why we are getting prolonged high pressure system or prolonged low pressure system. And that's the reason why we get drought, why we get heat, why we get cold, and it stays for a long time, for a long period, because the jet streams become stationary. They're not changing as they have changed before. So this is all happening right now, and that is why our global climate is changing right now at an average temperature rise of 1.1 degree only. It means when we reach 1.5 degree, which we will reach definitely, situation will become even much worse. So already we have droughts, we have mega fires. These are pictures from Germany, which has a quite moderate climate, and we had super drought, no rain, and huge fires. And on the right side, you can see Florida with 20 meters seawater level rise, to give you an idea what can happen. So what is in the pipeline? Disasters are coming towards us. Earthquakes, floods, droughts, cold, heat wave, storms, cyclones, wars, conflict, migration, pollution, disease, epidemics, and social economic breakdown. These are actually this list I've written 2.5 years ago before Corona. And quite interesting, this also. The effects which will happen to us is food and water storage, electric failure, fuel failure, restriction of movement, security issues, and health issues. And this list is 2.5 years, 3 years old before Corona. And what this means will that we will soon deal with a world full of denial, anxiety, depression, fear, anger, and panic. And quite interesting, some of these emotions we could see at the climate conference already. It's quite interesting. And now the big question is, are we ready? Is the BK family ready for such a scenario, or are we a little bit scared? I mean, if we see all these things, some of us might be a little bit scared and think, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that beforehand. And in 2018, I remember, I think it was the last NC meeting, Tadi Gulzar, she sent a message, and never I read it out. And Baba's message was, settle and finish all conflicts, keep food for 6 months to 1 year, and make Amrit Vela very powerful. So this was Baba's blessing, and Baba has foretold us many times that such times are happening. And now it's almost in front of us. We can see many of these effects already happening. Some are stronger, some are not so strong, but it's all happening right now. So despite all these problems, we all should stay very, very optimistic. And I hope this picture cheers you all up a bit. It shows a monkey and an elephant. And the monkey is very optimistic. And the elephant is also very optimistic, because the monkey believes he can catch the elephant. And the elephant believes that the monkey can hold him. So optimism is extremely important for us, because we have to act from a mindset of positivity and strength. This is very, very important. So now, how to bring transformation, that is the title of our talk today. So I put up a couple of points, and then I will elaborate on them. Raise the awareness and consciousness, drastic change in lifestyle, reduction of carbon footprint, and use of renewable energies, and also become a healer or become a magician. So let us now start, and I will talk to each of these points a little bit. In order to raise the awareness of the people, Brahma Kumaris has created an environmental initiative. And as Yogesh Bhai said, we have been participating since 2009 at the Copenhagen Climate Conference, at all the UNFCCC, United Nations Climate Conferences since then. And we are trying to inspire people to change on the inside and then change on the outside. And at the beginning, people were laughing at us and said, what are these funny yogis doing here at the conference? And now they sort of come to us and ask, please teach us. And what we are using as talking points is, for example, the 10 ways to change the world. You can see, live simple, respect life, be positive, and so on, follow your dream. And we are trying to inspire people to become a change maker and bridge builder, dreamer, peacemaker, and a visionary, and so on. And we have a web page, echo.brahmakumaris.org, and you will find a lot of information for the centers, workshops, blessing cards, materials, interviews, films, and so on. And we also have a newsletter, which we are sending almost to 900 BKs around the world every, I think, 2 months or so. So, and we also advocate a green lifestyle. The 5R, rethink before you buy, reuse as much as possible, reduce your consumption, your power consumption, your water consumption, your cloth consumption, and so on, recycle as much as possible, and refuse as much as possible to follow all the latest trends. So as I said, we participated at all the climate conference, and this was the 26th climate conference. It happened in Glasgow, and until 2 months before the conference happened, we did not know if it will happen actually. So none of us had done any booking, none of us had done any much planning, because nothing was clear. And 2 months before, we suddenly came to know the conference will happen in reality, and we had to organize accommodation, tickets, and had to organize all the programs. And Brahma Kumaris Environment has organized more than 30 programs. We have been 8 official delegates at the conference. You have to register yourself with the conference as an organization, which is quite a lengthy process. And then you have to register also the delegates. We had to do every day a quick flow test and upload to the National Health Service, and then only we could enter. And here you can see we are also interacting a lot with the interreligious dialogue. So we team up with the other religious organizations. The Christians are there, the Catholics, the Protestants, Muslims, Hindus, and many other organizations. And Brahma Kumaris is one of the organizers. And Valerian, you can see in the picture, she's very active in the field. And on the left side, we just holding a press conference, myself, Sonja, and a professor from a Potsdam Research Institute in Germany, and Sister Genti. Sister Genti is the head of the environmental initiative, and Maureen Ben was also there. And on the right side bottom, you can see our stand, our exhibition, in which we propagate lifestyle change and various initiatives. There has been also a lot of demonstrations. Greta Thunberg was also there, of course, and many other youngsters. And they are very, very frustrated because the outcome of the Save the Planet initiative has been postponed, you can say. And so they are going on street and demonstrating, and 100,000 were there. It was quite peaceful, but they were very, very upset because they say we don't have a future and death is in front of us. So this anxiety and these worries, you can really feel building up. And we are planning to team up with our health group, our BK health group, and we want to develop some training manuals for this anxiety problem, which is there, the fear of the future. And of course, everything was in the internet, and everybody was twittering, tweeting, Facebook, and so on. But there is also an overload. On the right side, you can see our brother Shantanu. He is our youth representative, and he was tweeting and every time. And meanwhile, the result is that an average person has an attention span of 7 seconds. And when you do a Twitter, a tweet, or a Facebook message, a post, or Instagram, you have to touch 20 times a person has to click until they like you and until they follow you. So it's like a race to make small snippets and post them as often as possible, so you get the 20 clicks and people like you and follow you. So it's quite, it's an advantage to share fast information, but on the other side, it also led to a fragmentation of our brain, and people lose the ability to concentrate. So here you can see our team in full swing. Sister Genti, Sonia, she's the manager, she organizes, and Maureen was there, Ruth and Maria, Valerian and Caroline from Berlin, and Shantanu in the front from India, and on the right side also Philippa from London and Roy also from Oxford. And so we were about 10, 15 people, and we were living, you can see in the bottom, in a very beautiful valley, 40 kilometers outside of Glasgow. So the result for Brahma Kumaris was quite good. We had 30 programs. We met literally thousands of people, and we gave dhyan, meditated with them, shared our message and so on. But the result for the world is very, very sad. Again, all the stringent reforms which are necessary have not been initiated. They have been delayed. A lot of interest groups are on the break. Big business, big oil, big coal, but many countries also, they are not really interested at the moment to move ahead. There's a lack of unity, you can say. And you can see here, this is a cartoon, and this is the climate conference 2040 on top of the Mount Everest. And the speaker says we finally have a binding international agreement to control greenhouse gases. And on top is Noah's Ark, full with all the animals, because the water has already come up to the Mount Everest. So that's the situation. Humanity sees all these problems. We are heading right now to 2.5 to 3 degrees global warming with all the promises which have been given. But it's not clear if these promises which have been given to reduce carbon emissions will be actually followed. It's not likely, because many countries, they promise something, but then they are doing nothing. So we're heading for 2.5 to 3 degrees. And science is very clear, we should not cross 1.5. Otherwise, things will totally get very, very, very bad. But it seems humanity is not able to deal with these dramatic development, and it's almost like a lethargic approach. There's a lot of talk, and many people move and try to do something, and a lot of initiative and a lot of good ideas, but it's drop. The big trend is not happening. So this is a bit the news from the climate conference. The next climate conference will be in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt, and we are preparing to go there. And for Brahma Kumaris, it's a fantastic opportunity to meet, to interact, to share, and to help people to build up strength and resilience, and to build a bridge of spirituality into this field of environment, into the field of science, and so on. And many people this time, they came to us and said, it's very good that you're here, because your presence gives really a positive difference. So now a little bit coming to India, what we're doing here. This is also one of our plus points that Brahma Kumaris is doing since 25 years, a lot of research in renewable energies. And you can see we're doing, I'm not reading it, we do a lot of research in different areas. And we are also a recognized solar research center with the government of India. And here you can see a 50 kilowatt photovoltaic installation behind our Gyansa rover training section. Now it's a 200 kilowatt, we expanded it. Here you can see a 400 kilowatt solar photovoltaic plant at Om Shanti Retreat Center near Delhi. Brahma Kumaris is now one of the biggest institutional user of solar energy in India. And we have more than maybe 600-700 centers which have solar systems in India. And you can see there in Om Shanti Retreat Center behind is a solar steam cooking system, and in the front is a photovoltaic system. Here you can see a solar steam cooking system, which we installed in 1997 in Gyansa rover. It can cook 2,000 meal, was financed, sponsored by the German government, and it's still running. It's now 25 years old. Here you can see our Shantivan campus, and here you can see the solar steam cooking system, and here also photovoltaic systems. So we have now 200 kilowatt photovoltaic in Shantivan, solar steam cooking system, and that works quite well. Here a couple of informations about India One. India One was a research project funded by the German and by the Indian government and by the Brahma Kumaris. The total budget was about something like 10 million euros. And the specialty is that we developed our own dish and we have storage. It means we can store the energy overnight. And storage is one of the big problems in transition towards clean technology, because you have to store the energy overnight. And that's batteries is too costly. So everybody's doing research how to store the energy, and that's why we got money, because we can store the energy in form of heat in the receivers. Here you can see a big view from a drone, and you can see the total project. It's 770 dishes. They produce steam, and here's the turbine house. There's a 1 megawatt Siemens turbine, and we produce electricity. Here is 1 megawatt photovoltaic also, and here's 125 kilowatt photovoltaic. We are having batteries and supplying here the electricity. This electricity of India One goes especially to Shantivan campus. And we have planted also 3,000 trees around the power plant. And here we have started organic farming. So we have a full-fledged organic farming here, 3,000 trees around the campus. So it became very, very green. And it's running very nicely. And we do a lot of training. We have done more than 40 workshops with United Nations Development Program and invited literally thousands of engineers from India and trained them in solar technology. But we also train and qualify the local population. So India One was a big income, still is a big income for the local population, and they benefited a lot. So you can see now that this is a possibility to use renewable energy and also reduce your carbon footprint, which will also help reduce the pressure on the climate. Now we come to the last point. We have to heal ourselves and we have to heal the world. And that, of course, is the most tricky part and the most delicate part. And I will elaborate a little bit on it. So first of all, I would like to share a bit the connection between our mind and the physical world. You know that our thoughts have quite a powerful impact. And here you can see our sustainable yogic farming project. It's going on since, I think, 10 years. And what we did is we teach to the farmers meditation. Meditate with the field, but also meditate with the seeds. And having thoughts like, I love you, you're very good, you're my friend, you will grow very nicely, no pesticides required, you will get all the nutritions, and so on and so on. And we teach them morning and evening meditation, and with the field and also with the seeds. And the results are quite stunning. Here is, for example, results with carrots. And on the left here, you can see normal carrots with chemical treatments and pesticides and so on. On the right side, you see organic carrots with organic, and in the middle, you see the carrots with yoga power. And you can see quite obviously the difference in these carrots. And these are carrots which have been grown with power of meditation. And here you see wheat, and on this side without meditation. Here you can see with meditation. And the results are quite clear, and they're sometimes quite stunning. You don't need pesticides, you don't get bugs infestation. And we work with the Indian Ministry of Agriculture now, and the government is interested to make use of this on a larger scale. And we have also a couple of places where we use this method in Shantivan also. And there's a webpage, www.yogiketi.org. It's in English, and it's very well done. And you will find a lot of information, pictures, reports, how that is happening, how it is working. And it is one very interesting example how our thoughts are manifesting into the physical reality. Very, very interesting. Now let us see what science is saying. There's a very famous professor from Harvard, and she's the founder of positive psychology. It's very famous, and she studies illusion control, decision making, aging, and the mindfulness theory. And she carried out hundreds of experiments. And her name is Ellen Langer, and she wrote many, many books. She's very famous, and you will find her on the internet also. And she did a couple of experiments, and two experiments I would like to share with you. One experiment is in an old people house. She took a group of 100 old people in an old age home, divided them in 50-50, put them in house A and house B, which were identical. So the house A was just normal, and they got the same food, the same furniture, the same routine as before. But in house B, she decorated everything in the style of the 1960s. And they got the food from the 1960s, and they got the food from the 1960s. They got the cloth from the 1960s, but also the radio and the television was programmed from 1960s. And she told these people to talk also on topics what happened in the 1960s, you know, like John F. Kennedy and the Cuba invasion and all this old stuff. And then after, and what she did is they did a medical checkup before of all the 100 people and after this 2 weeks. And the results were quite amazing. The 50 people who lived in the normal house, the same health problems, you know, old age home, some heart problem, blood pressure problem, diabetes, and so on. But the 50 people who lived in the house, which was designed in the style of the 1960s, they had a tremendous change. Many of them had a reduced health problems. Some of them felt 20 years younger. And some of them wanted to leave the old age home and says, what I'm doing here in this old age home, I will do a world travel now and I will leave the place. The effect was absolutely stunning. So what it means is the mindset controls the aging, and the mindset can heal the body in no time, you know. And aging and becoming old and getting a lot of problems, diseases, is very much connected to the mindset and to the old karma. So if you sort of put your mindset in a situation that you believe you are 20, 30, 40 years younger, the body reacts and follows. So mind over matter. And then she did another experiment, and the studies was quite stunning. She did another study with students of her courses, and she divided them in 2 groups. 25 of the students got a crossword puzzle with positive solutions. I love you, very good, success, you know, all these positive words. And 25 other students got a crossword puzzle with negative, like hate, disease, whatnot. And after 2 hours, she made tests with these people. And she sent the 50 students in the next building, and they had to go up on the 3rd floor to a staircase. She didn't tell the students that she put a camera there, and she calculated the time. She measured the time. And the students with the positive crossword puzzle, they needed half the time to go there. And the people with the negative crossword puzzle, they walked like old people. Like old people. They walked up the stairs, oh, every step was like a pain and so on. So what does it mean? What you think has a tremendous effect on your efficiency and on your output and on the effectiveness of your body. And she did many more experiments, all sorts of experiments, and they all indicate the mind and what you think, it rules your body and it rules matter. Then there's a very famous experiment in science, which I would like to share with you. It's the so-called double slit experiment. So what this experiment actually is, science wanted to find out what is the nature of light. So what they did is they have a light source, they have a wall with 2 holes, and they sent the light through these 2 holes on a screen. And so they wanted to find out if light is a particle or light is a wave. So when light is a particle, then it behaves like this. You have 2 dots here. If light is like a wave, you will have an interference design here. So what she found out is very interesting. When you observe the experiment, light behaves like a particle. And when the observer changes and looks away, light behaves like a wave. Because sometimes they got this result and sometimes they got that result. And in the beginning, they were not aware what is influencing this result. So what does it mean is the observer, the observation influences the outcome of the result of the test, of a physical experiment. And this is a very dramatic finding because it's not in line with modern science. It's actually totally against modern science. It actually means if I observe something, I influence it through my observation. Now imagine we are all observing all the time the world. We are all observing all the time other decays. We are all the time observing us, ourselves. We are all the time observing the environment around us. And we are all the time, whilst observing it, we're shaping it. And we keep it. This is very interesting idea. And so now it becomes clear that we have to sort of start changing our mindset because it's so powerful. So now a bit about scientific evidence of meditation. So what they did is, actually what happens is we follow in our behavior pattern the how you can say we follow the highways or our habits which we have created until the age of 14. I like sweet, I like blue color, I like Mercedes cars, I like cotton cloth, I like fast cars. All these things we create until we are 14, the age of 14, what I like and what I dislike. And in our brain, we create neuronal networks or highways and which we follow. And it means we are creating a program all the time and typing it, the program, and basically we follow the program. Because science has found out that 95% of the decisions are coming from our subconscious. Means they come from our neuronal network, from our likings, which we have created a long time ago. It's a hidden program which influences us all the time. This is why it is so difficult to change, because we have no direct access to this program. It is there. And for example, you see somebody for the first time. So what you do in a microsecond, you take 30 points of the face of that person. with these 30 points of the face, you go inside your data bank in your brain and you compare to all faces you have ever seen. And if that person looks similar to your mama and you had a good relation with your mama, you relax and you say, oh, very good. And you release all these hormones which make you relax and easy, because your subconscious tell you, good person. It can be a bad person and you can be fooled, but your subconscious overrules you. And that always happens. So now it becomes very tricky to change that program. And of course, we take the program also from previous birth. So science found out if you meditate regular, it increases your social competence. It deepens relaxation, improves your health. It increases brain cells and activities, which is very important because from the age of 25 onwards, the number of gray brain cells actually is decreasing. So when you meditate, your brain mass is starting to grow again. And lastly, it changes the neuronal network in your brain. It means you're rewiring yourself and you literally create new highways. Instead of being suspicious, you become compassionate. Instead of hating somebody, you become loving, and so on. You change the old program, you change habits and awareness. And that's what's required. And there's a lot of scientific evidence on this mind matter and the connection of meditation and neuroscience. And science is literally doing since 20 years, 30 years, a lot of research, and the results are quite staggering how powerful actually meditation is. So now let's come very briefly to the weird world of quantum physics. I still don't fully understand what quantum physics actually is, but I would like to quote a couple of famous people. Max Planck, very famous physicist. It's in German, I will translate. He says, there is no real matter as such. All matter is created and consists through a power which brings it all together. But as in the whole universe, there is not such an intelligent power or an immortal power. So it must be us, we, who are behind this. A conscious, intelligent mind, which is us. And this mind is the foundation of all matter. So this was by Max Planck. And the brain researcher and Nobel laureate John C. Eccles, he says, the connection with the quantum fields of our consciousness creates a world spirit, and which is everywhere in the whole universe. And there is a world spirit, and he thought it is God. So what it means is that many scientists, they are talking of a new paradigm. And this new paradigm actually says my inner world and the outer world are interconnected. And many scientists nowadays, they believe that consciousness is observing the quantum fields, is connected to the quantum fields, and the quantum fields are creating the reality. It means we are creating the reality all the time through our observation. And this gives us a lot of possibilities. And this crisis which we are seeing is also a huge chance. Because once we become aware of our full potential, we will be able to sort of bring a change and a shift in the system. So what we have to do is, we have to think positive on ourselves, love ourselves, positive, I'm good, I will do it, I will become perfect. And we have to think positive on others, especially on all the other BKs, family members, politicians, what's going on. We love them all. And
apologies,
then we must...
Golo, apologies. Another comment from the translators, just a little slower, please.
Slower, okay. Okay. And then we have to think positive upon the world. So these are the three things we have to master. And would like to share some photos and a bit wisdom from our Daddy Junkie, which left us, I think it was last year, yeah, in these Corona days. And Daddy was great inspiration and a great spiritual teacher and an embodiment of these ideas of loving the self, loving others, and love the world. And she inspired us to become an angel, become a helper of God, loving and compassionate, be a healer for the world, and be a guide to the light. So now we come to this transformation. So how we bring transformation to the world? Well, we have to imagine our perfect world. We have to change our neuronal networks from the old program. We have to reprogram us, and we have to imagine a world of perfection, like John Lennon sung, imagine all the people, da 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 dee da da. So our world of love, which is the center stone, the center point, peace, harmony, beauty, perfection, bliss, prosperity, happiness, just and timeless. So when we start moving our mind from the old world which we're observing and start imagining a new world, a perfect world, we create a very, very powerful transformative energy field. And as we have seen in the previous information, matter will follow the guidance of the mind. This is why Baba always says, you're master over matter. And in order to help people and inspire them, we have created a new initiative. It's called Yogis for Future, and it's part of the Environment Initiative. And we are inviting like-minded people to come together, meditate, and create good thoughts and intentions for the well-being of humans and the planet. And on this platform, there's a webpage also, yogisforfuture.org. And we are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And on this platform, we have uploaded 150 meditation commentaries. And it's just meditation for the people so they can experience themselves that change. Because people are very tired of listening too much to knowledge. So meditation and a change of thoughts are cooling the mind, create a new reality and a better world. And I'm soon coming to the end, but still have a couple of slides. So here we are. And now you have to select what you would like to become. Would you like to become Brahma, the creator, or Vishnu, the sustainer, or the destroyer, Shankar? Which one you like most, and what will you do with it? So it's quite interesting. Baba says become detached. So we have to let Vishnu a little bit let go. This is the Trinity in India, very, very important. And actually, we are all superheroes because Baba has told us about the 8 powers, which helps us in any situation in the life with self-transformation, but also to adapt. And I hope you know these 8 powers. This is the power to withdraw, to pick up, to accommodate, to discriminate, judgment, the power to face, the power to cooperate, and the power to tolerate. These are the 8 powers. And when you go a little bit in the depth of them and think a little bit about them, they will help you in day-to-day activities. So our own thoughts and visions do create reality. And this is actually a very, very powerful statement because it actually says we are the masters. And Baba many times says, you have the clock in your hand, the clock of transformation of this world, because mind and matter are interconnected. So this brings us to the one of the last slide about the world cycle. We are now in the Sangam Yuga, the transition age. The Greek called it the age of heroes, where the old merges into the new. And it's a very crucial time because we have to let go of the old and we have to visualize the new one. And we have to sort of moderate this transition process, which is pretty wild. You can see it, Corona, climate change, war scenario, tension everywhere, economic problems everywhere. Wherever you look, the planet is on fire. I would like to share with you a very interesting book by a former professor of the Oxford University. His name is Sir Roger Penrose. And the book is called The Cycle of Time. And Penrose was asking the three big questions. What comes before the Big Bang? What is the source or order in our universe? And what cosmic future awaits us? So this is now again a highly scientific perspective. And Penrose is a mathematician. And very interestingly, he came to the conclusion that each Big Bang, when it ends, is the seed for the next Big Bang. And there will be expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction in an endless cycle of time. I hope this sounds familiar. And he proved it all mathematically. And his book was very well received by the experts. So this brings us to the Big Bang, to the big picture of cosmology. And on the left, you can see the beginning when everything was concentrated in a point. Matter was concentrated in a point. And then there was this big expansion, and time and space started. And the whole universe was created. And the galaxies and the stars and the Milky Ways and everything was created. And then the universe expands and expands and expands and expands and expands. And as per Penrose, there comes a moment when everything has expanded to the maximum. And then movement will stop because everything has been fully expanded and fully stretched. And when movement will stop, time will also stop because time and space are connected. And that is the seed for the next Big Bang. And he says that everything will start again. So this is one of the last little suggestions or ideas which I wanted to share with you. So we come to the end of this little presentation or talk about global transformation, about change, about crisis as a chance. And you can see that the world is in a very dramatic transformation process right now. Climate change is very, very, very serious and is coming like a big tsunami now. And in the next years, it will become worse and worse. We have a pandemic.
You're on mute, Golo. It still shows the microphone muted.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's okay now.
Oh, sorry. Technology. So we are in a big transformation right now, and the world is undergoing tremendous problems: Corona, climate change, and you can see that we humans are not up to the crisis. And then I shared with you a little bit about what can we do as spiritual people, as yogis. And I've shown you about lifestyle change, about creating awareness with the people, train them, share the news, what you can do about clean technology and so on, what we're all doing, and the projects we have in India. And then I shared a bit about science. What is science saying about mind-matter connection and how it's actually interconnected? And at the end, we come to the conclusion that the mind is observing all the time the physical reality, and whilst doing so, he's shaping it. So what is left over for us is, okay, is to join hands and heal the world together with loving thoughts and by visualizing the paradise. So once our mind goes more and more into this world of beauty and perfection, we unite and we become powerful, we have a very, very powerful impact. So Baba calls it also the lighthouse and the might house. Lighthouse which gives guidance to the people, and the might house which radiates power and strength. So I would like to thank you very much for the attention, and I hope I've given a bit inspiration what's in the pipeline and how we as yogis can position ourselves in the whole development which is going to happen, and what tremendous power and chances, tremendous power we have, and what chances actually are lying in all these problems we're seeing right now in the world. We are change makers and we're actually superheroes. And Baba has said it many times in the Murlis to us. And now the art is that we sort of bring it into really our consciousness and our reality. So thank you very much for sharing all the time with me, and Om Shanti.
Thanks to you, Golo. Really tremendous, fascinating how you put some of those complex ideas forward in quite a simple way for us all to understand. No questions have come up, but there's one I could ask, which I think does come up from time to time from BKs. That is, we talk about changing the world and purifying the world and healing the world together at these conferences. But we also believe this world is going to be destroyed, as we hear in the morning, Murli. So why are we trying to heal the world in climate change conferences if we believe it's going to be destroyed anyway? What's the point? So I'm sure this question has come before to you. And how do you respond to that?
Yeah, this is one of the tricky situations we're in. I believe healing means transformation. And most of the people at the climate conference are aware that the current situation or the current technology, the current lifestyle, the current situation is not sustainable. It's not just, it's not good at all. And most of the people are very, very unhappy. So there's a tremendous need for change and for renovation of that system. So most of the people are aware that actually we have to overhaul that system in a big way, not in a small way, but in a big way. So we Brahmins, we usually talk at these conferences about transformation and about creation. And of course, if you transform something and you create something, you have to let go of the old one, of course. And well, the destruction or that nature becomes very upset with us humans, it's quite obvious. And that's the karma, which all of us have accumulated over a long period of time, especially the last 200 years, We've mistreated the planet Earth quite badly, exploited it quite badly, and climate change is now just a karmical feedback loop which comes back to humanity. So we're trying to explain to these people the situation and how we see it, our worldview, and try to inspire them to change themselves on the inside and become themselves a lighthouse and a lighthouse and build up that inner resilience and jump on the train towards paradise. You know, and we're all number-wise, you know, we give talks, we give presentations. Some people, they understand and come and they meditate and it makes click. And some people it doesn't make, you know, and we're trying our level best. These conferences are a tremendous platform and we learn a lot ourselves there, how we present ourselves also there, how you talk to intellectual people about this very complex situation we're in right now, you know, without that you're not too doomy and gloomy. But it dawns everybody now that it's too late. So at the conference, there was quite an atmosphere or an understanding that we're sort of too late to fix the problems now. So that's also there. So our presence is very important to support these people and give them love and compassion and strength, and give them an inspiration to connect with God, with the light, you know. So we even discuss now to bring God more into the equation, which was a hot potato so far. But now the situation is quite dramatic, and people slowly, they look for the Supreme, you know, to fix the problems.
Okay, thank you. There is one question that's come in. It's a question: how do we prevent panic on the part of lokiks?
First, it's very important that we ourselves don't panic, that we are, let's say, loving and detached, and that we see the big picture. Of course, we have to become so conscious, and we have to become detached of matter, but also detached of the body. This is all going hand in hand. It's very important, our own stage. So if our own stage is good, we're free of panic, free of fear, free of worries, we can create that energy field around us, and we can sort of transmit this to other people also, and we can share that on a vibrational level with other people. It's not easy to avoid panic. Here and there, some panic will happen when people will realize that this is the end of our civilization and the end of this planet and the end of this cycle. When people will realize it, we will see all sorts of reactions. All people are number-wise. Some people will go to the light, towards God, will become very peaceful, will go in stillness, they will go in the light, they will become themselves light. Other people will become panic, others will run around, there will be denial, there will be fear. We'll see all sorts of things. And it's very important for us that we become very powerful and very loving and very detached. Before I left, we had a meeting with Sarah. She's a psychologist in London, Sarah Eggers, and we discussed about palliative care for patients which are terminal ill, and how do you treat a patient who's terminal ill, and how much you tell him, and how best you help him in this transition process. And we want to develop some format to bring it out and sort of help people in this process. There are, by the way, already organizations out there. One is Extinction Rebellion, and the other organization is Deep Adaptation. And we're in touch with these organizations, and they're exactly doing that. They say the end is on us. We all have to realize it, and we have to go through this process of realization, grievance, let go, and then acceptance, and then love, and then compassion, and so on. So there are already organizations out there which are doing that.
Thank you, Golo. I know it's past 11 p.m. in Madhuban and for you there. And tomorrow is Satguruvar. So we should allow you to rest. We're just going to ask everyone to come onto gallery view. So Golo, you can see those who've been with us tonight.
Oh, wow. 104.